Hi, and welcome to Make Creek High School's open house. I am Mr. E. I am your child's academic chemistry instructor. Just to kind of go over some basic things. My conference period is fifth period, and it's going to be from 12:04 to 12:51 p.m. I have listed here my email contact number and my desk number. You'll notice I have two numbers. You can contact me at either one. Just know that with the bottom one, I can only receive text through that Google Voice number or voicemails. The best way really to reach me is either my desk number or my fifth period number through just my regular fifth period time, 12:04 to 12:51 p.m. And the other best way is Remind. I'm always checking Remind, and I'm sending out constant daily updates at MCHS at ACAC. So students and parents can both sign up for that and receive all the updates, which are pretty much daily, if not more than once daily. Um, Kind of just to talk over what a normal day looks like, we are in a slightly different environment than in person, obviously, but we like to do a 5E model, which is to really just get the kids engaged and do hands-on activities. And I've got these asterisks next to this because, right, with all the COVID-19 situation going on, hands-on is going to be a little bit different. We'll still try to incorporate those when we can, but just know that it might be difficult in some scenarios to keep everyone safe while doing these hands-on activities. Since it is chemistry that we are tackling, we like to do a lot of labs and try to incorporate that into games and just try to be active um, in those things. But again, these might look slightly different, but we are still incorporating labs and trying to keep it as light and as educationally beneficial for your children as possible. Of course, we do reviews all the time, constantly, and we have something called ISN notebooks, which is just a notebook that they get to keep and have throughout the rest of the semester, throughout the year, and they can keep going back and referencing too. Hopefully, by now they have this and they have been using it to put their notes and different things like that. Opportunities for success in this classroom in chemistry. So there are a few, and I want to go through them because it is important. One of the main things is that a lot of students, since the grade rubric, we'll talk about that in a second, is worth 55% for the test, we like to give a practice test. Now, the practice test is important because this is the main way that students get to, one, practice for the test, and two, get a chance at retesting if they don't do well on their first attempt to the test. So that's super crucial that they actually do the practice test and are getting those skills that they need. We usually do two test review days, so we'll take one full day to review everything that's on the test. Um, at worst, we'll do one test review day if time really doesn't allow. But most of the time, I like to do two test review days to really solidify what they do and don't know and give them enough time to study and get that done. They have a review sheet for the test that they'll get to turn in. We post the notes and the practice. We post the key at the very end of the unit. Hopefully, they were taking notes and filling out those practice packets that we hand out. You can look at Canvas or email me for more information about that. But hopefully, they filled that out. And then at the very end, we post the answer to those things so they can just kind of confirm by themselves, or they could do it through us, whether they got it right or wrong. Tutorials are scheduled. I believe I had an image up here, and we'll get to that in just a second. But tutorials we'll have every day except Friday, but a little bit more about that later. If a student fails a test, a retest is allowed, but there are stipulations to that, which I talked about doing in the practice test, and it is super important that they do that practice test. Like I said before, the major grade is 55%, minor is 30%, and other is 15%. Really what happens here that I notice students do is they kind of think they do all the work in class, but then when it comes to the test, they don't try as hard, but it's worth 55%, and all of a sudden their grade dips. And again, keep in mind that test grades are close to progress reports or close to the report card, so it doesn't give them a lot of time to fix it. So just remind your students that, hey, the test is really, really important as well as your minor quiz grades. How do students make up work? Students will hopefully contact me and as well as the parents, and I'll open up any work that we have assigned on Canvas depending on the situation and how often the student is actually asking for makeup work. If it becomes a pattern, then it might be a problem and we'd have to sit down and talk. But for the most part, I don't mind reopening work for them to do. KVA has a daily attendance assignment. This will no longer be the case. As well in the format of a Google Doc, it was going to be more of we're going to have some kind of procedural thing where they go in and do a little quiz, and then that'll be their attendance for the day. For KVA or face-to-face procedures, we're trying to keep everybody safe. Face-to-face is really important that everybody attends to 6 feet and is constantly like either washing their hands or being very protective. We are going to be very on top of it this year um, to ensure everybody's safety. And if it becomes a problem, then that's something else that we'd have to sit down and talk about. Materials needed for my class is really simple. It's just a notebook and a pencil. Just anything for them to write. Any other thing I will provide for them, including pencils. I will provide pencils, but we're trying to limit that because I would have to give them the pencil, and that would involve contact. And again, we just want to keep your child as safe as possible, as well as ourselves. So how will you provide tutorials? This is the tutorial schedule. This is all on Canvas, but as you can see, we have pretty much every day there's a tutorial session going on that your student child can attend, except Fridays where it says Friday by appointment only. If they request additional assistance, that is not a problem. It's as simple as logging in on Zoom or just simply sending a reminder or sending out an email if this is not sufficient. And then websites that students can use for your course. That can really be anything, including Canvas, but just any, even Google search. I've spoken to your children about this, that they can use Google if they don't know something, and we'll just address that more in person. But if you need a conference with me, just email, remind, just any method of communication that I have listed, remind and email being the most, I guess, time efficient for me and for you as well. But really, any of those would work, including Google Text. That is it. And I hope you have a great day. And if you have any questions, please contact me in the above mentioned um, contact list. Thank you.